Hi there, everyone. It's Tim Derling, Tim's Vinyl Confessions. Thanks for watching. This episode is a review of something that's been out for a couple weeks now. And I'm kind of excited about it because it's a band that I don't get to talk about all that much because they haven't put anything out for a long, long time. Last studio album came out in 2004. It's been 19 years since the album Drivetrain. I'm talking about my personal favorite Southern rock band, 38 Special. And I've always been a fan of this band. I think that their 80s albums, especially Tour de Force, are just great melodic rock. I love the fact that they melded like the Southern rock style with the more commercial style. Thanks in no small part to Jim Peterick, a Survivor, providing some generous co-writing. But yeah, I saw them in concert before. I saw them in 1997, and I've just been a fan for a long, long time. And earlier this year, I saw it announced that they're coming out with an archival live release. So I was all for it, and it is Live at Rockpalast, 1981. And Rockpalast, I mean, a lot of you people watching, that's a German. You've seen lots of clips of classic rock bands playing Rockpalast. I'm assuming it means Rock Palace, but I'm not 100% sure. But this particular concert, Live at Rockpalast 1981. This is on WDR. Not really sure if I have anything else on that label. I know there's UDR, but that's different. I looked it up, and on the back it says Live at Rockpalast Test Open Air Festival, Loreley, Germany, August 29th, 1981. And I looked it up online, and it looks like 38 Special were the first band to play that day, followed by 9 Below Zero. I had to look that up. I'd never heard of 9 Below Zero. Apparently they were a British blues band, kind of a pub rock band, and like 38 Special, they were on A&M Records. Then it's back to more Southern rock with the Outlaws, and the headliner on that day was Thin Lizzy. And I believe all of those artists have had those sets made available from Rockpalast. So, but yeah, when I heard this was coming out, I said, yeah, I got to get this. So there's a few interesting things. I'll go through the track by track, but first I want to go through the lineup. So of course it's Donnie Van Zant on lead vocals, Don Barnes on lead guitar and co-lead vocals, Jeff Carlisi on guitar, Jack Grondin on drums, Larry Junstrom, the late Larry Junstrom on bass, and background vocalist Carol Bristow and Lou Moss. So that's the lineup that played on this day. I say on this day because something I'm hoping somebody can clear up out there. My understanding was that in their first really decade or so of being in existence, 38 Special was one of those bands that had two drummers. So there was Jack Grondin, and then there was Steve Brookins. Now, Steve Brookins does not appear here, even though he was a member of the band, and I'm not really sure why. Maybe someone out there knows. If I had to guess, I would say it was because it was the opening slot, and there literally wasn't room to have two drum sets on stage. I'm not sure about that. But I've never understood the whole two-drummer thing anyway. It's kind of a lost art. You don't hear about that anymore. And the band themselves, when I saw them in 97, they just had one drummer. So, you know, like I said, maybe somebody out there knows why Steve Brookins didn't play this particular show. Maybe they took turns. I don't know. It's a fantastic performance. I'm going to go through it track by track, and I got some other props out here to show you. So in 1981, 38 Special were just starting to break. They'd had two albums out that didn't do anything. The third album started to get some traction, but it was with this album in 1980, late 1980, Wild Eyed Southern Boys, that they started to get some recognition. And no big surprise, there's 11 songs on this set, and 5 of them come from Wild Eyed Southern Boys. So yeah, they're promoting this album. It was a platinum album. I'm not really sure how well this band sold outside of the U.S. I know that they had 3 platinum albums and a couple gold in the U.S., so they did all right. So the first song comes from this album, the third album, Rockin' Into the Night. It's actually the last track on the album called Turn It On. Good opener, gets the crowd ready. Next, they are they go back to this album, Wild Eyed Southern Boys, for first time around. Both of these are, Donnie Van Zant lead vocals. And it's that, it's kind of a funny thing when you have a vocalist that doesn't sing everything, but also doesn't necessarily play. He'll pick up a guitar on the songs that Don Barnes sings, but he's always kind of looked out of place to me. But he's a great front man. You can tell he's having a good time, loves to be there. And he was much the same when I saw them in concert. Now, when I saw them, it was Don Barnes, Donnie Van Zant, and then bassist Larry Junstrom were the only ones from this lineup that were still in the band when I saw them in 1997. But next up, another song from Rockin' Into the Night, Stone Cold Believer. Love that song. First time I ever heard it was a live version on the Flashback Best Of. Then a really cool instrumental. No one ever talks about this. Actually, I should say no one ever talks about the guitar tandem of Jeff Carlisi and Don Barnes ever. They never come up in discussions of great rock guitar players. But these guys were fantastic, and they always played just the right solos for the songs. I never understood why people don't talk about them more. Jeff Carlisi hasn't been with the band for a long time. He's a great guitar player. Like I said, always knows just what solos to play. Don Barnes is a good soloist too. It's not flashy. There's no tapping or anything, but it's just great blues rock guitar playing. And Robin Hood is a fun little instrumental where Jeff does a little, very Robin Hood-esque thing, and I think it's like with a volume swell. Then it's the title song from Wild Eyed Southern Boys. That's a concert staple for them. Then a song that was a recent hit single, and I think it's just an all-time classic, Hold On Loosely. It's a little faster than the album version. Don sings it so well. There's some high notes in that song. And right before the chorus, who told me? Girl, how's that go? Mine goes back to a girl in my past, long years ago, who told me? Right, and that part is super high, and he nails it every time. And it's really fun watching archival footage of these bands when they were young and they still hit all the notes, you know what I mean? Yeah, really good. And Back Alley Sally, also from Wild Eyed Southern Boys. Then they go back to this first album, which I got a signed copy of in 97, even though not all the guys that signed it are on it. Cover of Chuck Berry's Around and Around, which is just typical Chuck Berry 50s rock and roll song. Then the title song from Rockin' Into the Night, which was their first song to get a little bit of radio play. It's actually a Survivor song. That's the Survivor version of it too, which is pretty close. It was on Survivor's first album, but a great song. Then the only song they do from the second album, Special Delivery, they do I've Been a Mover. I'm not a big fan of their first couple of albums, but I like the songs that they picked to do from them. And then they come back out for an encore, and the encore is a version of CCR's Fortunate Son. And they must be big CCR fans, because I remember when I saw them, they had two encores. They did, they must be Chuck Berry fans too. They did Livin' in the USA. I think that's a Chuck Berry song. And they did Travelin' Band. So there you go. That's the track listing. And these German festivals are known for being like very precise. If a band is scheduled to play for an hour, they play for an hour, And this entire performance for them is, I think, 57:39, and I watched the DVD. So yes, it's very, band plays at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. They're on 2 p.m. in the afternoon. They're off at 3, or off by 3. I don't know how early they went on, but like I said, it was a big festival. Not a lot for liner notes. Some still photos from the performance. One thing I will say that kind of took I wasn't expecting it, but I think it's important to note. I do want to mention it. It's 1981, okay, and because this is a band from Jacksonville, Florida, and they're playing in Germany. They're away from home, right? And so there are a few in the crowd, and I think it was probably to make them feel at home. There are a few, let's say, Dukes of Hazzard flags flying. Okay, it was 1981. That lines up. That's what I would have been thinking in 1981 when I saw that flag. Anyway, it is what it is. But yeah, it's a different time, but not a big deal. I don't think it's a big deal. And the crowd's into it. I don't know how popular they were at the time, but the crowd seemed to be into it, except that there's certain shots. There's this one guy right up front that just doesn't look like he's paying attention one way or another. But hey, what are you going to do, right? So yeah, it's a cool set. You know, it would be cool to see like a longer set come out from these guys. I know that there was a live video that came out, I want to say 1986, called I think it was called Wild Eyed and Live. It would be cool to see that get a reissue, and not just on DVD or Blu-ray, but also on the audio. Because I think it's nice having both. You know, if you're working, it's nice to have the audio to listen to. So there's no difference between the CD or the DVD as far as track listings. But yeah, if you're a fan of 38 Special, this is a must-have release. They haven't put anything out in years. And, you know, I welcome more stuff like this. Packaging's very minimum. I don't know what the zero is all about. No idea what that's all about. But anyway, yeah. So it's available now. You just find it wherever you get your music from. 38 Special live at Rockpalast 1981. I do also want to mention that the official release date for this album is June 30th. And once again, I got it 3 days early from Amazon, having no idea why I got it 3 days early from Amazon. So there you go. Yeah, I hope you like that one. 38 Special, always been a band that I've enjoyed listening to hear some of their songs on the radio, and then started buying their albums sometime in the early 90s. So there you go. Don't forget your Tim's Vinyl Confessions merchandise, shirts, hoodies, baseball shirts, stickers, buttons, coffee mugs, variety of designs. Check it out at tpublic.com/user/Tim's Vinyl Confessions. Thanks to everyone that's ordered. It's really appreciated, and it helps support the channel. So there you go. Thanks for watching this edition of Tim's Vinyl Confessions.